A red light is on for health because of yellow dust and fine dust in the spring. How much did related industries' sales increase? Weather forecasting gets smarter after converging with ICT technology. Let's meet more accurate and faster ICT-based weather forecast system. Large companies share their patent technologies with small and medium-sized firms for free. What is the background of launching this project and its economic implications? Making water purifying filters with the virus parasitic on E. coli? What is the key principle of the high-performance membrane that touts performance superior to the existing one? North Korea's socialist holidays that hold the regime's idolization campaign. In fact, what national holidays are there, and how is the regime making use of these holidays?
Hello, I'm Andrew Salmon and welcome to Bizline. Now, spring is usually one of the finest seasons in Korea, but of late, Korean springs have been marred by yellow dust. This yellow dust originates in China's Gobi Desert, is carried on eastward winds, picks up industrial pollutants as it crosses China's industrial heartland, and finally engulfs Korea and even Japan. And it's not getting any better. As a result, a range of new products and services are appearing to deal with the threat of atmospheric pollution. Let's take a closer look at a very necessary new sector.
The Seoul Tower, located in the heart of Seoul, has a special light system. When the blue light turns on, it means the air is clear. But when there is a green or red light turned on, it means the air is filled with smog. The Seoul city government informs the public of the status of the air quality through the colors of the lights. Since late last year, the sight of green or red lights at Seoul Tower was seen frequently, concerning many. It indicates that the air over Korea was filled with smog or yellow dust for as many days.
미세먼지 많은 날이나 이럴 때는 그 외출을 좀 자제하거나 아니면 마스크를 끼고 불필요하게 좀 나가야 될 때 있을 때는 마스크를 끼고 나가는 편입니다.
Mrs. Kim Ji-hye is raising 3 children, so she is concerned about yellow dust and smog at all times. As soon as she wakes up, she checks the day's air quality, such as density of yellow dust or smog. She cleans the house more often when the air quality is poor, but she is still worried.
요즘에 워낙 미세먼지도 많고 황사도 심해가지고 금방 창문 열어놓으면 먼지가 쌓이더라고요. 그래서 아이들한테 건강에도 안 좋을 것 같고 그래서 수시로 쓸고 닦고 하게 되더라고요.
She purchased air pollution masks and an air cleaner since the frequent occurrences of smog. Mrs. Kim and her children always remember to wear the masks when they go outside.
기본적으로 아기 때문에 저희 공기청정기를 구입했고요. 그리고 외출할 때 이제 아이들 호흡기 나빠질까 봐 이제 황사 마스크 아이들 거, 제 거 해서 여러 개 이제 구매를 해놨고요. 또 외출해서 들어와서 이제 꼭 손을 깨끗이 씻어야 되니까 요즘에 손 소독제, 손 세정제 이런 것들 그것까지 다 구매를 했어요.
It has been a while since Korea got serious about air pollution. Usually, Koreans had been worried about yellow dust hitting the nation in spring, but since late last year, there were more smog-filled days in winter. In 2012, high-dense smog occurred only 3 days, but it surged by nearly 9-fold in 2013 to 26 days. Up until March this year, there were 10 smoggy days. The reason for the sharp increase is due to a rise in automobile use in China, following strong economic growth and a warmer than usual winter. With the rising frequency of smoggy days, there's an increase in number of people complaining of difficulties of breathing and skin trouble.
공기 중에 그 미세먼지가 많이 있기 때문에 호흡하는 데 있어서 전에보다는 많이 이제 탁해서 기침도 많이 나고
2번 마저 받으시고요.
미세먼지 농도가 높아지면 그런 기침, 가래, 호흡곤란 같은 증상을 느끼는 분들이 많아지게 되고요. 특히 평소에 그 호흡기에 약하신 분들, 대표적인 분들이 이제 천식이나 만성폐쇄성 폐질환 이런 분들은 이제 급성 악화를 많이 겪어서 입원을 하시거나 또는 외래 방문하시는 분 숫자가 늘어납니다.
With the rising health concerns regarding exposure to smog and yellow dust, sales of related products are going up as well. Air pollution masks were usually displayed on shelves during spring, but this time around they have been on sale since December, and their sales rose nearly 200% on year.
마스크 같은 경우에 이제 아침이나 오후 이제 따로따로 하나씩 밖에 나갔다 오면 반드시 그거는 빨고 새 걸로 바로 채웠어요. 4개 정도 구매했던 것 같아요.
Air pollution masks are not the only product that has been in high demand. Cleaning products as well as hand sanitizers, sunglasses, and health food that is considered good for the throat are in strong demand as well.
최근에는 이런 관련된 품목들이 확대가 되고 있고 주식시장에서도 관련주들이 좀 많이 증가하고 있습니다. 최근에 좀 새롭게 떠오르고 있는 관련주들을 보면은 기존의 손 세척제에서 지금은 코어 같은 데 세척제가 좀 많이 늘어나고 있고요. 그리고 안질환과 관련된 그러한 안과 예를 들면은 일회용 안약이라든지 그런 쪽에 좀 관련된 제품들이 좀 많이 늘어나고 있고요. 그리고 기관 지원과 관련된 제품들까지도 주로 의약품 쪽으로 많이 좀 확대된 현상이 좀 나타나고 있는 것 같습니다.
Air purifiers and air cleaners for indoor use are in popular demand these days. A home appliance store estimates that their sales rose 650% on year in January, by a whopping 1,000% in February.
공기청정기 좀 보러 왔는데요. 미세먼지가 요새 심해가지고 좀 어떤 제품이 좋은지 좀 한번 보려고 그러는데요.
Home electronics products manufacturers are introducing and promoting air purifiers specifically to use on smoggy days.
실제로 중국에서 불어오는 초미세먼지나 황사 같은 것들에 대한 이제 소비자들의 관심이 커지고 있기 때문에 이것들을 효과적으로 제거할 수 있는 제품 기능에 초점을 맞추고 제품을 출시를 했습니다. 예를 들어서 초미세먼지의 크기가 2.5 마이크로미터인데 저희 제품은 0.02 마이크로미터까지 집진을 할 수 있는 그런 수준의 필터를 장착을 했고요. 그리고 스모그 원인 물질인 아황산 가스, 이산화질소 등을 걸러줄 수 있는 특화된 필터를 탑재하고 있습니다.
The retail market expects sales of related products to rise continuously as occurrences of smog won't be a seasonal phenomenon anymore. Thus, research and development in products that can assist consumers with inhalation of fresh air is to continue in a larger capacity.
기존에 황사 같은 경우에 봄철에 되풀이되는 일시적인 그런 테마였다면 앞으로는 이러한 중국 쪽의 대기 오염이나 미세먼지 관련된 이슈가 지속적으로 나타날 수 있는 현상이기 때문에 앞으로는 가을철에도 그리고 겨울철에도 미세먼지와 관련된 그런 이슈가 충분히 되풀이될 수가 있고 관련주들과 관련 산업도 충분히 지금보다는 시장이 좀 성장할 수 있을 것으로 전망됩니다.
In today's industrialized society, air pollution is not an isolated problem in one region, but a global concern. And with the gravity of the situation, opens the door for another market. The economy will further develop in areas of protecting people from air pollution, letting them breathe more comfortably at home and feeling safer when they make the trip outside.
Korea, as any Korean will tell you, has 4 distinct seasons, and it also has some pretty variable weather patterns. Despite this, Korean forecasters claim world-class accuracy. How do they do it? Well, they get more than a little help from new developments in ICT.
Korea's rain gauge, Chugugi, was invented in the Joseon Dynasty for the first time in the world. At that time, people had to personally measure the amount of rainfall. About 570 years have passed, and now we are living in an era where we can analyze global weather conditions with a supercomputer and predict next week's weather with a smartphone.
Now, going over to our temperature readings, Seoul will start off the morning at 9 degrees before reaching up to 19 in the afternoon.
Weather is so closely connected to our lives. Like this, weather forecasts control our daily lives. Indeed, Korea has the world's top-level accuracy in weather forecasts. How do the weather forecasters predict the fickle weather that changes several times a day? An accurate weather forecast starts with an accurate weather observation. Observation equipment installed nationwide and Chollian satellite outside the Earth collects real-time weather information from a total of 127 places in Korea, including the ground, offshore, and the sky.
전국에 약 500대 정도의 관측 장비가 있는데 매 분마다 기온, 기압, 습도, 바람 이런 것들을 관측을 합니다. 그리고 커다란 풍선을 띄워서 고층, 즉 상층의 날씨를 있는데 그것은 하루에 4번 관측을 하고요. 그리고 우주에서 인공위성에서는 또 15분마다 관측을 하게 됩니다.
The data observed this way is sent to KMA's Information and Communication Center through a high-speed wired network. As weather conditions change several times a day, it sets up a dedicated telecommunication network to receive real-time data. The high-speed telecommunication network that boasts a speed of 100 to 300 megabit per second runs 24 hours a day. KMA introduced a third supercomputer to rapidly process massive amounts of data. It processes the amount of data that 600 million people can calculate in a year in just a second. The supercomputer generates about 80,000 pages of forecast data a day based on the weather observation data.
어떤 예보를 수행함에 있어서 어떤 그 날씨를 지배하는 어떤 그 요소들이 좀 있습니다. 그런 요소들을 중심으로 해서 예를 들어서 강수가 예보된다고 하면은 어떤 수증기량의 어떤 유입되는 상태라든가 또 온도 분포, 그다음에 바람의 색이라든가 이런 부분을 위해서 중요한 부분들을 보고 그런 핵심적인 그 요소들을 위주로 해서 보고 그 외에 나머지 자들은 부차적으로 해서 같이 이제 보고 있는 상황입니다.
Aside from forecasting by district and time, the forecast room separately announces forecasts on earthquakes, typhoons, yellow dust, and fine dust that can cause disasters or be sensitive to certain professions. These forecasts are updated every 3 hours in accordance with the frequently changing weather. If you select a residential area, you can get its detailed weather information, such as temperature, amount of precipitation, direction and speed of the wind, as well as humidity.
수치 모델 자료에서 예보를 상상하게끔 기본적인 기초적인 자료들을 제공을 해줍니다. 여러 가지 뭐 기온이라든가 뭐 하늘 상태라든가 항상 오류의 그 가능성을 늘 가지고 있기 때문에 그런 부분들을 동네 예보관들이 자기 실정에 맞게 또 다른 자료 같이 더불어 분석하면서 예보를 상상을 하는 거죠.
The Korea Institute of Atmospheric Prediction Systems is developing a Korean-style numerical weather prediction model that reflects characteristics of Korean Peninsula's geographical features and weather. The numerical weather prediction model describes the movement of atmosphere and algorithm. It is a logical forecast based on observation data, but it comes up with forecasts quite close to real situations.
대기에 흘러가는 그런 그 대기가 유체입니다. 유체이기 때문에 어떠한 그 물리적인 방정식을 따라서 운동하게 됩니다. 예를 들어서 이제 그 자동차가 출발을 하게 되면은 그것에 대한 그 가속도를 알게 되면은 몇 시간 후에 어느 지역에 가 있을지 그것이 예측이 가능하죠. 다행히도 대기가 그러한 그 물리적인 법칙을 따라서 운동을 하게 됩니다. 그래서 초기 시간을 정확하게 알고 그리고 쪽의 위치를 정확하게 알고 물리적인 법칙을 정확하게 표현한다면은 향후 몇 시간 또는 며칠 또는 몇 년 후에 대기의 상태를 예측하게 됩니다.
We visited Korea Meteorological Administration, or KMA, which is in charge of Korea's weather forecasts. In an education room at KMA headquarters, a lecture on the latest weather forecast technology is in progress.
기상청에서 개발한 여러 날씨 예보를 위한 관측이라든지 모델 등이 많이 있습니다. 그거에 대한 기술을 좀 알려주고 실습을 통해서 각자 동남아 나라에서 활용할 수 있도록 교육을 하고 있습니다.
But the people attending the lecture aren't Koreans. They are weather forecasters from Southeast Asia, visiting Korea to learn the country's weather forecast knowledge.
We will be able to learn a lot on forecasting, especially for wave modeling and also for storm surge, which is a need in our country.
It is very helpful course for us because, in our country that is developing country, so in our meteorological department, we use different kinds of ICT application there. Here in KMA, they are just teaching us how to apply this kind of application there, like storm surge model, wave model, and other numerical weather prediction.
The weather information announced by KMA is sent to the media and disaster prevention agency in real time through a dedicated fixed line. Through this, civilians can check today's weather every day, and the disaster prevention agency can preemptively deal with possible weather disasters.
기대 효과는 예측성의 향상이라고 볼 수 있습니다. 내일 모레 그리고 강수 예측의 정확성. 비가 몇 시부터 몇 미리까지 어느 지역에 얼마만큼 오느냐. 현재는 일주일 정도가 이제 실질적으로 예보에 활용이 되는데 그 기간이 더 연장이 되는 거죠. 일주일이라면은 10일 또는 그 이후까지 우리가 적극적으로 실생활에 활용이 될 수 있도록 그런 정확성이 향상이 되는 것입니다.
From our daily lives, food supplies to controlling supply and demand of energy, weather forecast is indispensable to society at large. If the Korean-style numerical weather forecast model is commercialized, we will have an era of more precise weather forecasts.
Technology flagships Apple and Samsung are investing hundreds of $millions in legal fees and huge amounts of brand prestige in their ongoing global patent war. This gives some idea of the value of patents for modern companies, but here in Korea, a technology sharing project is underway in which patents are shared for free. So what's this all about and who are the beneficiaries? To answer these questions and others, we have with us the president of the Korea Institute for the Advancement of Technology. Jung Jae-hoon, welcome to Bizline.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, technology sharing project. What is it?
Technology sharing project helps small and medium-sized company access high potential but unused patents from academia, public institutes, or large companies. This is a kind of a representative program of KIAT. It promotes co-prosperity by increasing SMEs' competitiveness and develop their image.
In the world generally, particularly in the ICT sector, there are exclusive patented technologies and there are a whole range of sort of open source technologies which are utilized by multiple companies. What kind of patents are we talking about in this project?
We are talking about the original exclusive patent, patent transfer, where the ownership rights are handed from large companies to small and medium-sized companies.
How many patents are we talking about here? Tens, hundreds, thousands?
Hundreds.
Okay.
Hundreds of patents are now we are handling.
Okay. And which companies are we talking about? Which companies are represented in this project?
During the first round, E3 provided 396 patented technologies. And in the second round, SK Hynix provided 240. We are now in the third round, and LG Display has provided 257. Out of these, 753 domestic and 140 patent family cases.
Okay.
Patent families are patents are registered in various countries such as US, France, Germany, Japan, China, etc.
Okay. Now, you know, the companies you just mentioned are very well-known companies. They're big players. They're represented internationally, and of course, they're investing a lot of money in R&D.
Mm-hmm.
So, why are they sharing these patents, which they've developed with their own time and effort, for free?
Much patented technology are not utilized. Large companies institutes only used 74.5% of their patent. And only commercialize 49.3%. This is a kind of wasted R&D investment.
Yeah.
Unless it is utilized. Especially the Public Research Institute possesses about 190,000 patents.
Sorry, 190,000?
Yeah, 190,000 patented technology. But more than 80% of these are not utilized. In other words, useful patents are not commercialized on the market. Therefore, if small and medium-sized companies manage to utilize even a part of this kind of patent, we believe we can help them to become more healthy and innovative companies.
Okay, I understand that a lot of companies produce these patents and it's not really commercially feasible for them to utilize them. Why is that?
In some patented technology are not applied to the commercialized size. I mean, it cannot meet the economy of scale.
Right. Okay.
For example, the S company, they are a very big one.
Yeah.
They need 100,000 pieces.
They have to produce 100,000 pieces for them to be commercially viable.
Only apply to the 100 item.
Okay.
So it cannot meet.
So for a big company can't use them,
Another
but a
reason,
small firm can.
Another reason is some patents just developed for the defense use.
Okay.
From the patent monster, as you know.
The really big companies.
NPE, things like that.
Okay. And when you say defense use, let's just clarify for the viewers. What do you mean by a patent that needs to be used by a big company for a defense or defensive use?
Samsung and Apple,
right?
They are now just struggling, and they are in the war.
Yeah.
So that's start from the patent,
right?
Design or whatever.
Yeah.
So that kind of war is a cover from the Samsung to the small and medium-sized company. They are in the line of Samsung, so they can get the alliance for the against outside the
predatory patent monsters. Okay, so creating your own patents as a defensive commercial measure. Okay. Now, again, SMEs are a critical part of the government's economic promotion activities. There's a huge gap in the market between the big boys and little boys. Thus far in your operations with this technology sharing project, what kind of SMEs have benefited? Are there any success stories thus far?
First of all, the SMEs can benefit by establishing cooperative systems, especially with the large companies. Second, through this kind of a patent, they can develop their own reputation and increase competitiveness, and also its own image on the market.
Okay.
And lastly, securing patent portfolio for technology, both domestically and abroad, help the companies better cope with the patent issue from foreign competitor or patent troll.
Okay, gotcha. Can you give us any concrete examples of some Korean firms which have used the technology, which has been passed down to you, and which you have then disseminated, to them?
S company developed some kind of range technology for handicap, which range is used for the smartphone.
Okay.
But it cannot commercialized by S company.
Okay.
As I said earlier, it cannot make the hundreds, thousands volume.
I think S company, we can guess which one it is. But
they gave them technology to the SME. So they developed very small amount of the range item. They supply that kind of product to S company, but it's a very limited one.
Right.
So it's kind of a win-win story.
Okay.
S company can get a good reputation, and the small and medium companies get the market.
Okay. Thus far, we've talked about the commercial application of this, but let's move on to a slightly different area, and that's ODA, Overseas Development Aid, or Overseas Development Assistance. Now, Korea's just starting to become a player in this area, which is an important part of the national image internationally. Is there an ODA aspect to the work you're doing in disseminating and sharing patents?
Official development assistance is ODA. It's a way for developed country help to the developing countries. Typically, the developed countries provide grants, very low interest and long-term loan for poverty reduction.
What are some countries that are benefiting from this assistance thus far?
We investing in the Vietnam, Qatar. The construction of the incubate park started in the last November. In 2015, might be the incubator park will be opened. They are specialized in the agricultural machinery. Of course, we supply the core technology.
Got you. What do you think, generally speaking, of the current thrust, the current direction of Korea's ODA efforts?
Previously, the Korea ODA program is just supply the relief assistance. That's all, which is ODA Generation 1. Currently, we provide infrastructure and policy consultation. It's ODA Generation 2. Thirdly, from now on, ODA Generation 3 will contribute to the developing countries' industrialization by using our industrial capacity. For this, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Foreign Affairs must cooperate closely.
Let's come back and let's finish up with your own activities. What do you see as the future for KIAT? You've been in operation, I think, since 2009. Where do you go next?
We already fixed the industrial technology ODA in June. So now we are creating the master plan of a specific project. Which kind of the project will help the developing countries? There is some point where the developing countries' needs and the Korea's strengths can be met.
Gotcha. Convergence. Okay. A happy convergence, hopefully. Thank you very much indeed for being on the program. Good luck with your future activities.
My pleasure.
Okay. Take care. I'll have to see you again.
Sleeping time is a recharging time for stressed out modern people. This week's app of the week is Good Sleep, that enables people to fall into a deep sleep by stimulating their brain. First, let's wear earphones so that the beat is evenly sent to both ears. After selecting either a night sleep mode or nap mode, you select the time. It will be adequate to use it for about 15 minutes at daytime. Of the various sounds of nature, the most popular sound is the comfortable sounds of rainfalls. Now you are ready to fall asleep by adjusting the sound of beat that will stimulate your brain. A sleepless night? Now let's not worry about it anymore.
Earlier in the show, we discussed the issue of air pollution. Now let's shift our attention to water pollution, a major problem which has spawned a major market for water purification equipment. With so many polluting agents being sub-micron sized, it's obviously critical for any filter to be very, very fine indeed. In line with this, Korean researchers recently developed a filter which can sift through 95% of sub-micron-sized particles. That's pretty remarkable in itself. What's even more remarkable is this filter is based on an intestinal virus.
A water processing membrane filters out impurities and bacteria from water, making it clean. It is applied in various areas, from water purifiers used at home to wastewater treatment at industrial sites. There is a new technology developed to make this important membrane. A virus that is parasitic on E. coli is being used to make the high-performance membrane, which makes this technology very interesting. The severe water pollution problem has raised the importance of securing safe and clean water for consumption. A recent report released by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, also known as UNESCO, said that 11% of the total population, which is 768 million, didn't have access to an improved source of water. In order to get clean water, a water processing membrane is necessary. Performance of the membrane is determined by how fast and properly it can filter out impurities. Scientists have recently developed a membrane that is better in performance than existing ones. The membrane developed here is attracting much attention because it is made from the M13 virus that inhabits on E. coli bacteria. A circular single-stranded M13 has been used in many studies because it is a self-assembled layer.
The M13 virus is a virus that can be amplified. It's based on the host material of E. coli bacteria. So it is very safe, and there's no concerns for the toxicity or some infections to the human body directly. So we don't have to worry about that. And more important aspect of this virus material is simply by triggering the protein functionality around these virus bodies, we can control their assembling behaviors to very ordered nanostructure. And in these studies, we made a very well-aligned nanomesh structures made of virus material, which is very appropriate for the membrane application, which is requiring a highly porous characteristic.
Scientists reshaped the tail of the virus through genetic modification, fixed it on graphene oxide, and aligned it in a straight line by flowing water or air through it. Then the scientists layered them vertically and horizontally, one by one, on top of each other to make a fine membrane looking like a mesh.
바이러스를 한쪽 방향으로 전열시키기 위해서는 엉킨 머리카락을 풀 때 빗질을 하는 것처럼 한쪽 끝부분을 선택적으로 고정시키고 나머지 부분을 빗질과 같은 물리적인 힘을 이용하여 특정 방향으로 전열시키는 방법을 활용하였습니다. 이번 연구에서는 바이러스의 그 꼬리 끝부분을 선택적으로 산화 그래핀의 모서리 부분에 결합할 수 있는 특성을 부여하고 여기에 물의 흐름과 같은 물리력을 작용시켜 간단하면서도 대면적의 그 바이러스 전열 구조체를 제작할 수 있었습니다. 이러한 바이러스 전열 구조체를 90도 방향으로 격자 방향으로 순차적으로 적층시킴으로써 나노 그물망을 제작할 수 있었습니다.
Virus membrane made from this process is more dense than the membrane in current use, and yet more effective in penetration, being only 10 to 30 nanometers thin.
The membrane system has a very non-porous characteristic. Therefore, to compromise that problem, the people have to increase the membrane thicknesses, which reduces the membrane performance very severely. Therefore, to challenge these issues in our researches, we use the viral nano, the fiber, and make them to very highly ordered structure, and use that structures for the membrane application, which shows that very high the separation efficiency, and at the same time they can exhibit a very nice, very high the permeability characteristic.
The performance of the membrane was tested by using red-colored solution containing nanoparticles that is the same size as the cold virus. As a result, the membrane was accurate in filtering out more than 95% of nanoparticles that were 10 nanometers in size. Moreover, this membrane was faster than the conventional membrane in filtering the fluid by 2 to 4 times in speed.
균일한 기공 크기는 일정한 그 크기를 갖고 있는 분리 대상 물질에 대해서 높은 분리 효율을 나타낼 수가 있는 특성도 확보할 수 있었습니다. 이러한 그 나노 그루만 구조체는 상용화된 분리막의 경우와 비교하여 이제 완벽하게 그 제거 특성을 갖는 조건 하에서도 3배에서 4배 이상의 그 투과 특성을 나타내는 것을 확인할 수 있었습니다.
But is there a possibility that the membrane made of virus being harmful to humans? Scientists say there is no such concern as the virus is treated in high temperatures.
There is no further concerns for the human infections because M13 virus is only amplified using a host material of the E. coli bacteria. So there is no direct infections or toxicity to the human body. But to completely remove this concern, we thermally treated the produced the membrane material at 180 Celsius degree, which is enoughly high for deactivate the viral functionality. So after the completion of the viral membrane, there's no further concerns for the human infection.
The membrane developed by the scientist can be used not only in water purifiers, but also to enhance performances of the lithium-ion battery and solar cells by utilizing the virus structure.
In these researches, we only use the viral membrane just as its structural characteristic because it has very uniform, well-aligned structure. We used it for viral or the membrane application, but this virus material is very smart, and so it can be simply switched and converted into very noble the metallic species or inorganic species that is useful for generate or store the energy. So currently, we are doing extended researches for developing the high-performance electrode materials for solar cell or the lithium-ion battery. Also, we are doing researches for highly sensitive sensor devices for biological and environment application.
Water processing membrane made of viruses and yet harmless to the human body. It can also be in mass production. It is expected to be in commercial use after 4 to 5 years, and efforts will continue by Korean scientists to further develop the new technology.
In South Korea, the two main national holidays are traditional ones. There's Seollal, Lunar New Year's Day, and there's Chuseok, the Harvest Thanksgiving. Up in North Korea, though, things are different. There, the two main national holidays are, you guessed it, the birthdays of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. But North Korea also celebrates 7 socialist holidays. So what are holidays in North Korea all about? Let's take a look.
Many countries around the globe commemorated Labor Day on May 1st last week, and North Korea was no exception as it is one of the nation's important holidays. But the mood on the day couldn't be compared with the festive atmosphere that prevailed in North Korea throughout last month, packed with events to celebrate the birthday of the nation's founder, Kim Il-sung, on April 15th.
김일성 생일이 다가오면은 2월 달부터 산에 올라가서 이제 진달래 나무들을 꺾고다가 거의 얼어 있는 나무를 꺾고다가 물에 담궈서 꽃을 피웁니다. 그러면 4월 15일 때 되면 꽃이 다 피지요. 그걸 이제 김일성 초상화 앞에 갖다 놓고 이런 이제 정치적인 그 충성의 행사들을 많이 하고 또 한 달 전부터 3월 한 초순부터는 충성의 노래 모임을 준비합니다.
Kim Il-sung's birthday has been celebrated even after he died in 1994 and was renamed as the Day of the Sun in 1997. The founder's birthday was designated as North Korea's public holiday in 1968.
북한이 국가적 명절이라고 해서 다른 어떤 명절이나 기념일보다 가장 앞서는 중요한 날짜들을 정해놨는데 그 날짜들을 보면 김일성 생일, 김정일 생일, 그리고 북한이 국가로서의 체제를 만든 날, 또 조선노동당이라고 하는 집권당을 창건한 날, 뭐 이런 날들이 가장 중요한 기념일이에요.
The birthday of Kim Jong-il, the founder's son and the late leader of North Korea who passed away in 2011, is regarded no less important than Kim Il-sung's. His birthday is February 16th.
이런 날을 국가적 명절로 정한 시기가 분단 직후부터 바로 그렇게 된 게 아니라 60년대 후반 70년대 들어서서 이렇게 기념일을 새로 정비하기 시작한 거죠. 그러니까 그 시기가 언젠가 하고 보면 주체사상이라는 이론적 체계를 만들고 그리고 김일성을 내세워서 우상화된 인물로 만들고 그런 작업을 시작한 시기가 요 60년대 말 70년대거든요.
A number of different events are held to celebrate the two late leaders' birthdays in the Kim dynasty from February to the end of April.
학교 운동장에 나가서 집단적으로 춤을 춰야 된다든지 김일성이 김정일이를 위해서 감사의 마음으로 춤을 춰야 된다든지 그리고 또 약간 군사 퍼레이드 비슷한 게 있어요. 퍼레이드가 군대들만 하는 게 아니고 학생들도 시켜요. 학교 애들도 그렇고 또 어른들도 그렇고 각 집단 조직들마다 모여서 김일성이 김정일이 초상 앞에서 충성의 결의 모임을 가집니다. 그래서 행사라는 게 그 기독교 행사하고 비슷해요. 시작 전에는 이렇게 노래를 부르고 김일성이 찬양 노래를 부르고.
People in North Korea also wait for the Kim's birthdays because they receive special gifts from the government, such as rice, along with a chance of taking a few days off from work.
황홀한 축포를 보니 환하게 웃으시는 우리 수녀님께서 저기 찬란한 내일을 축복해 주시다는 생각에 가슴이 쪼르시 조져듭니다.
사탕 과자가 상점이나 장마당에 흔하면은 아버지 어머니가 그걸 자주 사주면 뭐 감격할 필요 없지만 이것은 평소에 아버지 어머니가 전혀 줄 수 없는 건데 이쁘게 포장이 돼서 소위 장군님의 선물로 내놓으니까 애들로서는 너무 고맙고 눈물이 나올 수밖에 없는 그런 분위기가 조성되는 겁니다.
태양절 광명성절이라는 이름을 붙여서 4월 한 달 내내, 2월 한 달 내내 이렇게 행사를 하는 그런 일을 통해서 북한 당국이 그 기획하는 건 뭐냐면 이게 우상화가 이론적으로, 제도적으로, 법률적으로 이렇게 주민들의 일상과 떨어져서 멀리 있는 게 아니라 이게 정말 이 가랑비가 옷 속으로 스며드는 것처럼 북한 주민들의 일상 속에 쭉 파고 들어가는 거예요.
But some people complain there are too many events. Citizens are even mobilized to participate in some of these events.
북한에서 충성의 명목으로 김일성, 김정일의 생일날 혹은 설날마다 주민들로부터 거둬들이는 이런 게 곡물이죠, 곡물. 이게 엄청 많거든요. 거기에 대한 스트레스가 가장 많아요. 그것들은 어찌 보면 투덜거리죠. 할 게 없으니까. 그 동원 때문에 주민들은 거의 노가다를 하죠. 그때만 되면, 4월만 되면.
National Foundation Day on September 9th and the Korean Workers' Party Foundation Day on October 10th are also considered important national holidays designated to propagate the country's political system. Mass ceremonies are often held in a solemn atmosphere to commemorate such anniversaries. The mass ceremonies, including military parades, have been used as an effective political means to unite people and instill patriotism.
그런 날을 이렇게 특별히 강조해서 굉장히 행사를 크게 하는 이유는 이 1년 동안의 달력이 지나가는 그 시간의 흐름을 따라서 우상화 체제를 강화하고 그리고 북한의 국가 체제를 안정화시키려는 목적이 있는 것 같아요. 그래서 사람들의 생활 속에서 명절 체계와 더불어 이 우상화와 국가 체계를 안정화하는 목적을 가지고 달력을 거의 재편을 한 거죠.
North Korea in August last year set August 25th as a national holiday, the so-called Day of Sungun, to commemorate the late leader Kim Jong-il's very first inspection of a military base, indicating the Kim dynasty's ongoing efforts to justify the leadership through creation of new holidays and anniversaries. It is only a matter of time before North Korea designates the birthday of Kim Jong-un, the country's current leader, on January 8th as the nation's third greatest holiday, along with his grandfather and father's birthdays.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
But will such political anniversaries continue to be effective in instilling loyalty to the regime?
거기다 이것을 이제 개인 숭배, 또 충성심, 고취 이런 걸로 이용을 하다 보니까 북한 사람들은 상당히 지치고 이제 북한에도 핸드폰이 250만 대를 넘어서고 또 한류 문화가 들어가고 그러다 보니까 이 정치적 명절도 좀 퇴색되고 당국 역시 그런 명절 선물 가지고 북한 주민들을 어떻게 그 충성을 유도하던 때는 지나가지 않는가.
Across the globe, holidays are generally days to celebrate or commemorate an event or cultural tradition and religious belief. But in North Korea, holidays are designated with a specific purpose. It's another political means to justify the leadership and ensure the existence of the regime.
And that's all we have time for on Bizline this week. But do join us again next week. It is often said that Korea has a world-class manufacturing sector, but only a local-class services sector. Well, that may be changing. In next week's Bizline, we'll be taking a look at the rising competitiveness of Korea's medical services market. So do join us then, especially if you have a few aches and pains. But that's it for now. I'm Andrew Salmon. This was Bizline. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.